Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. The love that we experience in life has a boundary. Within that boundary, we have love, affection, friendship, etc. Whatever, whatever we call it. As this is love, that affection I have, this whatever we call. Beyond that boundary, we experience hatred, indifference, jealousy, etc. If a neighbor grows, neighbor's son gets marks, we feel jealous. If my son gets more mark than me, I don't feel jealous. My son makes more profit, I don't feel jealous. I feel proud. I'm so happy. But if my cousin's son were to get it immediately, we feel. Why? Because it's not within my circle. If it is within my circle, then I will not feel that. It is within my circle. So that's what he says. Why we have that hatred towards. That's how we experience in life. We have a very, weird way where our ability to love someone is only to the extent that the person is unknown to you. With a known person, you can never love. You can love only unknown. He loves the known, not the unknown. That is the difference between our love and his love. Now that's why he titles every topic as his love, his power, his knowledge. Why that his is required? It's only for us to compare with ours. We love. Who do you love? Who do you serve? We always serve the unknown face. See, we never serve the known face to us. Our service is towards the people who are not known to us, strangers. It's very simple. Your friend comes home, old friend who comes. He is meeting you after 12 years or 15 years or so. He comes home and he starts praising you, how great you were, how good you were, how intelligent you were. All that. Your wife says what? She may not say that verbally, right? Internally, she is thinking what? Only I know. I know him. You don't know him. I know how stupid he is. You people may think he is great, but not according to me. Right? Very difficult. Why? Because she can see fault. isn't it? At what point in your life you get that conviction that you know someone well? I know you well. When you get to know about their positive qualities, or when the day you get to know about their inadequacies, their defects, the wanting, the faults, the lacuna in the personality. That's how we say, no, I know him well. About whom you have ever said, I know him well. I know him or her, whatever. Wherever I say him, you put a slash and add her. Wherever I say he, you put a slash and add she. Right? At what point you say that? Only when you get to know the fault. And the moment you see the fault in the other person, the affection that you are showering starts reducing. The moment you start recognizing the defects, the maid we have is superb. Very good, very good, very good, very good, very good, very good, very good. But only one problem, sir. He'll start with, always you will say, but there is only one problem. What is one problem? Too slow. Ask her to, mop the floor. She'll mop very well. There's no doubt about it. But that mopping that, 10 by 12 room will take 15 minutes for her. You too slow. Such a slow person. Now, how can you love her? What is your affection towards her now? The moment you see the other side of the personality, you cannot love them. As a consequence, you cannot serve them also. That's why within the family, there is no service. All of us are interested to serve the world. What is the world? All unknown faces. I'm not saying you should not do anything for them. You see, the inspiration that you will have, the feel that you can get for doing something to an unknown person, to a stranger, we take it as service. We never consider doing something to our own people at home as service. Why? The identification that you can have with the unknown. What is the problem? Once you start moving closer with people, the moment you start coming closer with people, the problem is you start seeing. And what you see is you start registering multiple situations, multiple reactions, multiple actions of the other person. Right? The moment you start seeing a person in different scenarios, as far as you people are concerned, your relationship with me is only one-dimensional. And now it's not even one-dimensional. Ishwaran is a person sitting on the screen. You feel like keeping your screen on, you keep it on. You don't feel like put it off and walk out. I say that's all it is. Why? We have the choice. It's not even live actually now. Live when I say offline. You'll say live means now we think, online is live. Online is not live, please. It is where you are sitting in front of a person. That also I am referring, you meet me in only one scenario. What is it? In the context of Vedanta class. That's it. Beyond the context of Vedanta class, there is no connection between you and me. There's no connection. There's no contact. In fact, about 60-70% of the class people, I don't even know who you are. Supposed to be, I am your teacher. Has no clue about where you live, what you do, what is your name. Nothing I know. Therefore, I can love you, you can love me. You see, there is no problem at all. Because our context is only very, very minimal. 1 hour a week. That's all the context is. This I'm referring only when you are offline. Online, even that 1 hour should be treated as 2 minutes. Because for all practical purpose, you are not relating to me. You are relating to your system, to your computer, to your mobile phone, to your TV. You're not relating to me. Your relationship is with your TV only. Therefore, what is that, sir? I love you, you love me. Possible. But the problem with reference to people living in your house, that is why you will see these days, people started having more and more pets in the house. No more humans anymore. You bring in, you need that pet to be in the house to lubricate, to loosen up the situation. If that pet is not there, it is so tight. We need that person there. We are dependent on what? We are dependent on the poor animal to lubricate. That's why I go to a fellow's house. The house itself is 600 square feet. In that, the fellow has one big, fish tank. They call aquarium. We call it aquarium. I said, see, the hall, there's no place for humans to walk up and down. They're having a fish. Why do you have? He says, stress buster. So for you to get rid of the stress, you got to bring that poor fish and put it in the tank, and he has to keep rotating in that 1.5 feet tank. Imagine you walk up and down 1.5 feet whole day. I told him to do that for 1 hour. What will happen to you? Imagine, that's what the fish is doing, no? Whole day, what is he doing? He's not just fishing in one direction. He just goes, he goes, and then he has to take a U-turn, come back again. Again, take a U-turn, come back, U-turn. Can't you? And this fellow says what? No, it's a good stress buster. I keep looking at it, all my stress goes away. I said, keep looking at a bare, wall. Your stress will go away. You don't need a fish for that. You don't really need that. You have a TV, switch on the TV and watch aquarium. There are pictures where, have fish keeps moving up and down. Keep watching that. Why do you need to put a fish now? Why is this? More and more a person comes closer. The problem is we start seeing them doing varied actions. Of those varied actions, some or perhaps quite a few would be contrary to my desire. Once I see a person doing things contrary to my desires, after that, what happens to all the affection and love I claim to be having towards them? So long as you are not, that is why we are able to relate with a stranger very nice, very cultured, very refined, fantastic. How are you, sir? Thank you, sir. Excuse me. Sorry. It's so easy for you to say sorry to a stranger. But to your own wife, you can't say sorry. Why? It should be the other way around, no? Every one of us, the moment you see someone, say, how can I serve you is the point. Not how can I serve them through you. This is what all NGOs are, all trusts, all charitable organizations in the world. The moment they contact you, the moment you contact them, whatever the case, the moment there is an interaction between the two, that interaction always happens in the context of what? Serving them. That who is that them will vary from person to person, but the them is always is them only, always unknown. Whereas his love is to the known. He never loves them. This we can't understand. This we can't relate. Now, rest are all just story there. We can't, we'll say, nah, sir, all that you talk about, this around too high-fi philosophically. Really, practically, if you have to understand, that's why he puts it as his love. What is his love? His love is there towards whom? Towards a person who is there in front of him, with whom he relates, with whom he interacts, he transacts, not with the strangers, not with those people whom he doesn't know. That is a difference. Now, why we start hating these people? Because the moment they come closer to you, there is a problem. What is the problem, sir? Their actions becomes contrary to you. So it's impossible. Therefore, we say what? Wherever you have raga, desire, attachment, there will be dvesha. You can never have raga. I have desires are there in me, sir, but there is no dvesha in me. Impossible. He has no dveshas. Why? Because he has no raga, no desire, no attachment. He doesn't peg himself to a particular circle, to a particular boundary. So he goes on expanding his boundary. He is expanding, accommodating more and more and more. A point comes where he accommodates the entire universe. Not only animals, not only plants, even the inert objects he can accommodate. Fantastic Zen story, say. A fellow, one of a disciple, came so angry. He was so hurried, and he was so angry because the driver came late for the lectures. So annoyed. He came. And when he came, he had to meet that master. I was a witness to it. Don't ask me how do you know and all that. Right? It's there. This man, left the slippers and entered. Because in our tradition, you leave the slippers out and enter. So he left the slippers and entered. And he said, I'm sorry, Swamiji, sorry, Swamiji. The master told him, apologize to the slippers first. First go and apologize to the slippers. But if you do it, it looks so absurd. One angle of it is so absurd. But the other angle of it is to be conscious and conscious of the value addition of that object in your life. See, that's why we were able to love. The ability to feel that oneness with inert objects is celebrated here. Not easy. Why? Because there is no reciprocation. You love a dog, there is a reciprocation. The dog will love you more. You love a dog 10 units means the dog's love towards you will be 25 units. See, there is a reciprocation. You start showing affection to this, love, they say, no? When you start talking to the plants grow better. Plants grow, you will not grow. You can talk to the plants, the plant will grow. Will you grow because of that? No. But it is interesting, it reciprocates. Plants reciprocate, humans reciprocate, animals reciprocate. When it comes to inert object, it doesn't reciprocate. When there is no reciprocation at all, how is it possible for you to keep on pouring your affection? Where there is no reciprocation, your ability to continue to keep pouring your affection is called love. That is a training we have with the idols. You have God's idols and all is there. No, the temple you go, you see, it's not that we don't know it is not a stone. Of course, we also know it is a stone. Why? Because we are the one who ordered it. It's not those kings and the pujaris don't know. The Tirupati Balaji, it's a stone. Of course, we know it is a stone. You may ask me, which stone is it? Is it a granite, or is it a marble, or is it a Sadaralli one, or is it a Kadapa stone? Which stone, I don't know. But it is a stone, I know. But there is something you do with that. You pour your affection towards that stone, knowing that it is a stone, as though that stone is alive, is something which a layman cannot understand, a gross personality cannot understand. That's what he says here. He says, that the whole thing starts. The area of identification starts with a dot. Fantastic word. He says, the whole thing, he says, starts with a dot. What is a dot? He says, that his love, the area of identification starts with a dot, increases in concentric circles only to get lost in its boundless infinite expanse. That and all we can see later. But first, you need to understand what is the meaning of the word dot. Identification starts with a dot. What is the dot? Don't say me. Don't say I am the dot, sir. What is the dot? Body is the dot. Your physical body, today, you have relationships, right? All the relationships that you can conceive of is all because connected to the body. And what is that body? I'm not discussing mind, intellect, and all that. That will be too much. You see, me, oneself, myself. You say, myself can be referring to mind and intellect, or myself can be referring to the body. For us, what is myself? What is the dot? Today, I have this body, 67 kg, having 5.4 or 5.6. And this much width, this big. About 25 years back, what was it? It was not 67, it was 47 kg. 25 years back, it was 47 kg. Because the day I came to Bangalore, I had that done. I had a checkup. Checkup doesn't just my weight, that's all. In the weighing scale, I weighed myself. I was 47 when I came to Bangalore. Right. Now I'm 67. Right. That is in the morning. Afternoon, if I put, it will be another 1.5 kgs. So we know the timing. When is the least time we will have, we'll check on that time. Ideal time to check is that, he said. So you check around that time. 25 years back before that, 20 years back before that, what was it? 20 years back, it was 47. Okay. 20 years back, it was just about 2 feet. 2 feet height and 14 kgs perhaps. Before that, at the time of birth, before birth, 8 months in the womb, 6 months inside the womb, first month, you must see a picture, unbelievable that is. That embryology, how that whole thing grows, if you see, it's amazing how fantastic that is. All that entire thing is what? Just a dot. Where is that? This dot, what I claim to be my body, is a product of what? So before that dot, where was I? The starting point is a dot. What is interesting here is to probe into what is before that dot. Half the body with my mother, half the body with my father. And where was it in him? In all the rice. Because his body is an accumulation of what? All that my father ate. So we have to distribute myself into what? Where was I before that? Half it is with my father, half it is with my father. That half was where? With all that he has consumed? In all that he has consumed, where was I? At what point we get it? All that you understand about it. This is what we call as, gross. Grossness is you don't apply it and think at all. Power went off. We got to wait for 30 seconds. Internet will work, but the lights will not be there. Like a ghost I'll be sitting now. Before that, where was I? There is no name. There was no form. There's no sex for that. You can't say male, female. Before the dot. Even at that point of dot also, it has no name, no form. What is it now? Just that dot. Just that small thing. At that point of time, what were you doing? Then what had happened? That dot started becoming bigger. And you take birth. What is it? This increase of identification with the body. My body. At what point you started believing my body? I'm not discussing with reference to my mind, my intellect, and all that. At what point this body became my body? First week, first day, dot, before dot. As soon as the birth happens, sir, exact moment of my birth is the time I started feeling my body. First month of birth, third month, sixth month. At what point you started saying, this is my body? And all your relationships today that you are claiming is all finds its root where? My body. Beyond that, my body, there is no. That's why first thing we get is what? My family. My family is what? Extension of my body only, no. At what point you started? This is what you ought to reflect. Don't worry about his love. His love will not help you in any way. You need to start probing into what is your love in contrast to what his love is. Our love is what we all can understand. What is our love? We can love only people whom we don't know. We can love people only when they are strangers. We can love people only to the extent I am not able to see the fault in them, the flaw, error, or whatever they do. The moment I start seeing that, what happens to this? Delete all that. Minus all those things. Your readiness to serve. The proof of your love is what? The spontaneity with which you can serve is the proof of your love and affection. You don't calculate. You don't think. You just jump in. That is called love. The spontaneity with which you are able to sacrifice. The spontaneity with which your ability to sacrifice for the sake of the country defines your love towards the country. Then you can say my country. Illanaka August 15th we will call my country. 14th we will not remember. 16th also will not remember. 15th also only morning. Afternoon you are involved in the TV. Movie is there. Holiday, no. It is. You are involved there. Because it's a holiday. What is your understanding of January 26th? Republic Day. What is the greatness of Republic Day? What is so good about? At least Independence Day, most of us understand. When it comes to Republic Day, what happens? Holiday. Nothing more than that. Which one you are able to feel? Meaning, if you claim that I love, means the test of your love is your spontaneity with which you can serve and sacrifice. If you are not able to serve or sacrifice for the sake of that circle, then you don't belong to that circle. A person who has not yet come to the level of even my family, if he is attempting to understand his love, me and my body only, everything should be happening to cater to my body, cater to my needs, cater to my desires. The moment someone were to function contrary to my desires, even a little hurt they do to me, that's why they ask this question. At times, your own teeth bites your tongue, no? What do you do to your teeth then? Immediately go to a dentist and tell him, sir, this teeth, you know what it did to me day before? Why are you waiting for one more day? Because of you only. Why? No appointment. Dentist appointment I didn't get. So what you have to do, sir, pull out all the teeth you pull out. That fellow is biting me. You don't do that, no. Everybody's teeth somewhere down the line, at least once in your life, it would have bitten your own tongue. Right? It bleeds. It pains. For 2 days, you can't eat. It is paining. And still what you do? You brush, you floss, you gargle, you do everything to protect that. That's called a love. If you can't understand all these things, at least understand the example. All these ideas, even if you forget, that's okay. The teeth and tongue. Why? Because you have identified the teeth is also me. Since there is that identification, even though it hurts, it pains, you don't resist. You don't retaliate. You don't do anything. That is called, don't go reverse, please. Yeah, correct, sir. That neighbor, is causing so much of trouble to me. I'm not retaliating at all. Why? Because he is a bouncer. Neighbor is a bouncer in this one. So if I go and retaliate, sir, making so much of noise, what nonsense is it? He will teach me how to fly. Not because of that. See, I have the power within me still. If I have to resist, if I have to put up a fight, I have that power in me. That is why ahimsa practiced by a powerful person alone will be appreciated. A weak person talking about ahimsa will not be heard. Nobody will value that. Remember. So even if you say that I want to practice ahimsa, first you should be having the power in you to cause himsa. You see, that is why we have, all the countries have a department called Defense Department. And they keep on acquiring more and more and more weapons, power. Why? Because even if those countries were wanting to talk about ahimsa, they should have the power in them first. So you must have that power in you. Now, most of us will say, sir, I'm also not resisting. Therefore, I'm also must be having universal love. You can't go reverse there. Remember, this way correct. This side is correct. If you have love, you will serve, you will sacrifice. Whom? Not the unknown. Not a stranger. You serve the one who's right in front of you, or the one who is sitting next to you. Right in front of you, I'll say if I am there physically. Now I can't say that. So I say first, at least someone in your next room. Those people you should start serving. But that service will be a spontaneous expression. It's not that by serving you will generate love. That will not happen. Love will find its expression as service and sacrifice. Right. But how do you generate love is a different equation. But by this way, you can't come and say, okay, now I'll serve, as a result of which will I get love. That will not happen. Only through love, if you have, it will express. So that is his love. Now, what is the next point he gives is his knowledge. His knowledge. Brahman, the supreme God, is all-pervading. Brahman alone exists, nothing else. That is your real self. You know not yourself. The ignorance of self projects the world, just as ignorance of rope projects an illusory snake. So is this world illusory, stemming out of your ignorance. Hence, all knowledges pertaining to the world spring from the base of ignorance. Even the greatest scientific discovery and invention are within the realm of ignorance vis-a-vis the absolute knowledge of self. Preeminent scientists have declared that their findings are relative, not absolute. The self alone is absolute, real. The world is relative, unreal. The self-realized has found this truth, is established in the knowledge of self, knowledge of Brahman, absolute knowledge. Spiritual ignorance is the cause of all sorrow in the world. There is only one way to eradicate sorrow and establish enduring peace and happiness in life. That is to instill the knowledge of the inner self, the knowledge of the absolute reality. So now is moving to the next idea, his knowledge. Now, the moment we say his knowledge, we immediately ask the question, knowledge about what? Knowledge of what? What knowledge? And what is our knowledge and what is his knowledge? Knowledge can be only pertaining to two domains, two aspects. One, external knowledge and internal, objective and subjective. Objective knowledge, subjective knowledge. Objective knowledge means the knowledge of the world. Subjective knowledge is knowledge of oneself. So, knowledge, his knowledge of what? His knowledge of two things, of oneself and also of the world. He has that knowledge. Now comes the comparison. Now we go to the usual pattern. Our knowledge and his knowledge. Our knowledge with reference to ourselves, his knowledge with reference to himself, our knowledge with reference to the world, his knowledge with reference to the world. Our knowledge of ourselves and our understanding of the world. His knowledge about himself and his understanding of the world. This is the comparison, that's all. Now, what is our understanding of knowledge? We have an understanding of knowledge. What is our understanding? Our understanding of knowledge is only very, very preliminary, very basic. You call someone very knowledgeable person, sir. So he's a very knowledgeable person. Means he has lot of information. Correct. He knows a lot. Oh, he has a good knowledge of, stock market. He has a very good knowledge of cars. Means what? He has lot of information. That's what we call as knowledge, isn't it? In a very basic way. In a day-to-day transaction wise, he's a knowledgeable person. Means he has more information. So whoever has more information, whoever knows detailed understanding of something, minute details and all those things, if a person knows, we call that person to be a knowledgeable person. Right? The one who is not having it will not be considered as a knowledgeable person. This is our understanding of knowledge. Now apply the rule here. Now, our knowledge about the world vis-a-vis his knowledge about the world. We can't understand that. Why? Because we don't know his knowledge of the world. So for which we have already had one comparative point. Wherever we have to compare us with him, I've said already, immediately go to the example. Example of waker and dreamer. Here, the dreamer is equal to us, the waker is equal to him. Okay. The dreamer has knowledge of the dream. Waker has the knowledge of the dream. You're all with me. Dreamer also knows about the dream. Waker also knows about the dream. Right? If you ask the waker to describe the dream, how much detail he can give? Vis-a-vis the details the dreamer can give about the dream world. Who will have more information? If we go by our parameter of knowledge, which is equal to information, then we have to say dreamer has better knowledge of the dream than the waker having knowledge of the dream. Waker's knowledge of the dream is incomplete. Why? Because he talks in bits and pieces only, isn't it? You try to recollect, your dream. Tomorrow morning, you sleep tonight. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, try to recollect your dream. It will come only in bits and pieces. You can never have that complete detail. But if you go to the dreamer will give complete detail about the dream world. So who has a better knowledge? But still we'll say what? No. Ishvara. The waker's knowledge of the dream is totally different from the dreamer's knowledge of the dream. Isn't it? The difference is not in quantum, Ishwaran. The difference is in the kind itself. You can't grade it. There is no gradation. We cannot even say the waker has more knowledge. No. Waker alone has true knowledge. Why? Only waker understands it is a dream. The dreamer doesn't understand it to be a dream. This is the difference. What is the knowledge? Knowledge means this. Knowledge. What is the essential nature of knowledge? See, fundamental nature of knowledge is knowledge will only illumine. That's why we compare it to light. Knowledge cannot create. Knowledge only illumines. The light illumines Ishwaran who is sitting already here. Isn't it? The lights go off, Ishwaran becomes invisible to you all, isn't it? That's what happened, no, just before. Few minutes before, I was sitting here. It's not that I had disappeared. I was sitting, but still you are not able to see. The moment light comes, you're able to see. Did light create an Ishwaran? No. Light only illumined Ishwaran. Light will not produce Ishwaran. It cannot create. Creative power it doesn't have. It has a power only to illumine the nature of knowledge. The essential understanding you must have about knowledge is this. Knowledge will not create, will not produce anything. It will only reveal what is already there. What is already there? That's where he gives a fantastic example. Right? This is a standard example in any Vedantic discourse you go. Right? This example is standard one, rope and snake, without which nobody will talk. No discussion whatsoever will happen in the realm of philosophy without these two. What is this? Remember first understand the example, then apply it here. Then it will be easier. Otherwise, it will become difficult for us to understand. So knowledge means what? Knowledge is not the detailed information that you are talking about. First one. Second one, knowledge will throw light on what is it. In essence, in reality, what is it? In essence, what is it you should understand? Only then it is called a knowledge. In essence, if you cannot understand, there is no way it can be called as knowledge. Because the nature of knowledge is illuminating in nature. It's not going to be creating anything. So I'm not going to be bringing in anything new here. Right? Now, there is a rope. The boy trips over the rope and he starts screaming it as snake. Right? Now, the snake that he is seeing and the rope that you are seeing, who has a clear knowledge? Whose knowledge is absolute? See, he claims snake. You claim rope. Remember the example. Same thing here. Apply. We claim world. He claims Brahman. World alone exists for us. For him, Brahman alone exists. Now, how is it? There is a fight. There is a dilemma. There's a problem. That's why he gives 2 points here to say, for us to suspect who could be correct. The preeminent scientists in the world say all that we know about is only relative, not absolute. So those great thinkers within the world say the world is not absolute, the world is relative. One. Second point he gives is ignorance produces sorrow. Knowledge should produce bliss. Isn't it? In ignorance only, when there is no light, there is a chance for you to trip over things and get hurt. No. When there is light, even though there may be too many items in the room, you can carefully walk through without getting hit, getting hurt. Isn't it? Even in your own room also, that's why we have that, what they call night lamp. They put a night lamp. Or old people, have My grandfather, my father-in-law, one of the things he'll always carry is a torchlight. He'll keep a torchlight next to his bed. He goes to sleep. The moment he opens his eye, first thing his hands will go is to the torchlight. You switch on the torch and then walk. I say, but there's nothing in the room. Take 2 steps, you are there. You are there to the switch. No. You will always have that. The moment you have a light, there's no possibility for you to get hurt, get hit. Same way, the moment you have the true knowledge, you cannot have the possibility of sorrow, suffering, misery. Ignorance, there is always a possibility for sorrow, suffering, misery. Now we come to the comparison. Now we come to our life. We say, he says Brahman, we say world. And in the world, all those people say it's all relative only, which means it's not absolute. Out. 2, in the world, we experience what? Bliss or sorrow? Mostly sorrow. Once in a while, some pleasure, some joy. Some pleasure comes once in a while in our life. We also have some pleasures of life. It's not that there's no pleasure at all. But pleasure and pain both keeps happening in our experience of the world. So therefore, we ask this question. We say, ignorance means what? Remember, ignorance has, or what we call as this, Maya. This Maya has 2 dimensions to it. Ignorance, avidya, Maya, illusion, it's all same thing. I'm just using all that as synonymous right now at this stage. Okay. Of course, there is a difference. We will see that when we go to that chapter. There we can do it in detail. Now, here, all that you need to understand is this much. The illusion, what he is talking about, has 2 aspects. The ignorance has 2 aspects. What is it? First aspect is it hides the true nature of ourselves, which is referred as avarana. Avarana Shakti. The ignorance has that power. First aspect, 1 dimension of it is Avarana Shakti, which means it has the power to hide. It hides the truth. The darkness has a power, we can say. One is what? It hides the rope. Then it has another aspect. Next one is the Akshepa Shakti, referred as. That is, it has the capacity to superimpose a false reality. Superimpose something. Whatever is getting superimposed is false. Okay. One aspect is the power to hide. Another aspect is the power to superimpose or to project that which is not there. That will vary from person to person. That is why one person will say this is, the whole thing is just it is a snake. Another person will say this is a garland. Mala is lying there, he will say. Another person will say it is a crack on the wall. Or the person will say this is just a root of a tree. Now each one can say one thing. But what you superimpose is a different thing. But first dimension is the power to veil, hide, cover up. It has both the powers. It has a power to conceal and it has a power to superimpose. It conceals the reality and superimposes the world on that. Now, in his case, is what, and the world itself is what? That's what he says. The world itself is a product of ignorance. If world itself is a product of ignorance, means any amount of knowledge you have, you derive from the world, has to be what? Has to be ignorance only. Ignorance of the true nature of the world. What is the true nature of snake? What is the true understanding of snake? Who has the true understanding of snake? The one who understands the snake is nothing but a rope. I'll just give you a few statements. Think about it. Very interesting statement. At least to me, it was so interesting to even read it first time. Same example only. Okay. The boy tripped over and he comes and shouts, "What is that's a snake, there's a snake, there's a snake." You ask him, "Where?" "I saw in the garden. The right corner there in the garden, I saw there." "Oh." "Describe." He says, "The snake is 6 feet. Okay. Mark the statements carefully. Snake is 6 feet long. Snake is 4 inches thick. Snake is black. Snake is coiled. Snake is 6 feet. Snake is 4 inch thick. Snake is 6 feet. Snake is coiled." You tell him, "My dear, the snake is rope." Okay? You're all following? Snake is 6 feet. Snake is 4 inch. Snake is black. Snake is coiled. Snake is rope. Is the name? See, grammatically speaking, all the statements are correct. Only the last statement, "snake is rope," is not describing the properties of the snake. Isn't it? Because ropehood is not a property of a snake. That statement is totally different from the rest of the 4 statements. Totally different. Now you can't know which is a true statement. From one angle you look at it, that snake that he had superimposed is 6 feet. Correct. When you are under that influence of that illusion. But factually, that 6 feet is whose property? The 6 feet belongs to whom? 4 inch thick belongs to whom? Black belongs to whom? Coiled belongs to whom? It is actually ropes. The ropes one, you superimpose upon the non-existing snake and then claim that snake is 6 feet, 4 inch, black, coiled. This man comes and says what? He is not giving you 4 statements. He just makes only one statement. What is it? The snake that you are seeing is rope. Now what do you do with it? Now, how can that boy understand that knowledge? You see that? That boy also has the knowledge of the snake. You also have the knowledge of the snake. But there is a difference between your knowledge of the snake and his knowledge of the snake. What is the difference? Now, the moment you understand that snake is just a superimposition, why that superimposition came into picture is because of the ignorance. This avarana is the base on which he created. Now, same way, apply the same rule to yourself. What is your understanding of yourself? What is your knowledge about yourself? Sorry, what is his knowledge about himself? Our understanding of ourselves is Jiva. With full of doshas. His understanding of himself, his knowledge is what? Nirdosha Brahmatvam. Dosha Rahita Jivatvam is our understanding of ourselves. His understanding is what? Nirdosha Brahmatvam is his understanding. His knowledge is totally different. You can't compare. You can't even say it is better. You see, you can't even compare it because it is totally different kind itself. You see, you can't have a comparison here. Sir, Hyderabadi biryani or Lucknow biryani, which is better? You can compare. It's a possibility. Because both are biryanis. At least you can even compare, biryani with, fried rice. Is fried rice better? Biryani better? You can compare. Right? Now, suddenly you are comparing, sir, do you want to have biryani or you want to have Mercedes Benz? Huh? Sir, you want to have, imagine somebody offers you, right? I wish somebody offers me, would you like to have Mercedes Benz or you would like to have biryani? Which is better? I'll say, compare. See, you can compare cars. You can even compare a two-wheeler with a four-wheeler. You can even compare, a yacht with this because there is some connection. You see, now suddenly comparison between biryani and Mercedes now. Why? Because both are Benz. This is also Benz. This is biryani. Therefore, we compare. That is our knowledge and his knowledge. Totally different. The consequence, now the moment you understand the power of that knowledge based on what, that's why he gives one idea. The idea he gives is true knowledge should give you bliss. Ignorance will give you sorrow. Now, your knowledge of the world and your knowledge of yourself gives you bliss or gives you knowledge, gives you sorrow. No, opposite is his. Our knowledge of ourselves is this. This is producing what? Sorrow. Our knowledge of the world is this, which is producing what? Sorrow. Therefore, His knowledge is opposite of that. Our knowledge is relative. His knowledge is absolute. So as a result of that, what happens? His knowledge gives him peace and happiness in his life. Our knowledge gives sorrow and suffering in life. Jnana cannot be understood. You can't distinguish that jnana. But through that jnana phala, you can understand the difference. The difference of jnana, we can fight. We can fight. No, snake only is there. Snake only is there. There's no rope. You are simply lying. You are simply lying. The boy will fight with you. But the ease with which you can go and catch hold of that, he can never do it. He will always have that fear of the snake. Same way, that jnana phala is different here. Our knowledge is this. His knowledge is different. How do you understand that? You can't understand at the knowledge level. At least try to understand from the consequence or the effect of that knowledge. That's what he gives the second part. Okay. See you in the next class. Thank you.